All right, we're back. Graveyard Shift. Ooh, Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 93. In this edition of the podcast, Tyler is special. I dressed up for it. This is the first episode we've recorded since we've hit 100,000 views on the podcast, which it's a good thing all 100,000 have subscribed.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't know what the subscription number is right now.
it's pretty high, dude. I think we're basically the top.
The number one in the world?
Number one, yeah. Which you may ask yourself, well, how do you have more subscribers than views? Well, money. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so thanks to all 100,000 of you for viewing. I like to believe they're all like, oh shit, he thanked us. So this week, for the special edition, we took a request from longtime viewer Papa Hades, who's been commenting on all types of shit for a long ass time. And he requested that we watch Exists from 2014 about Bigfoot. And as he requested it, he said, I know you guys didn't like Willow Creek. He's like,
Whoa.
watch this one. So, that's weirdly enough, I don't think he commented on the Willow Creek episode. I think it was a different episode, but you know, it's cool. So we watched it.
We did.
And I will say, I did like it better than Willow Creek. Now, there is something I'm going to talk about when we start getting into it. I think Willow Creek, I give props to Willow Creek for doing that this movie doesn't get. But I did enjoy it more than Willow Creek. That being said, I think I'm just going to rock a 5 on this one. It's not my favorite. Also, I'm curious as to see if this is a YouTube-made movie. Because it's free on YouTube.
With ads.
With ads, yeah. You can take care of that. And they mention YouTube and YouTube videos a lot throughout the movie. So I'm curious if this was like an early YouTube-funded movie being made. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna rock.
You know why I think it might be?
Why's that?
Because there's one point in this movie where any other horror movie would have shown nudity,
Yeah.
and this one did.
Yeah.
And I will, you can be like,
Well, also,
it's for TV, but it's like, there's blood.
for some reason in my memory, 2014, 2013 sounds around the time that YouTube started going in on like making movies and signing YouTubers to make shows and all that stuff. That sounds around the time they started doing all that. But so it might be. But anyway, a 5 for me. Tyler, what do you?
I'm gonna go higher than a 5.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't like any of the acting.
I didn't think it was too bad.
I didn't like what may or may not exist.
Yeah.
But the ending got me, so I'm gonna give it like a 6.5.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Well,
see it
the
coming.
ending is what I saw coming the whole time, so that's kind of why I was like, oh. Well, I'm glad you got surprised by it.
I wasn't surprised, but yeah,
Yeah.
I made a joke which made myself laugh for like 20 minutes. To myself,
Yeah.
because I live a lonely life,
Yeah.
and it really brought me up out of the dumps. So I was like,
All right. All right. Well, hey, spoiler warning for Exists. We're gonna ruin everything about it. Boy, I hope by the end of this I start sounding exists. I start sounding like a fucking snake. But anyway, so if you've never seen it, you've been warned. So first off, what I want to say since this is the second episode we've done involving Bigfoot, and obviously
And
the
Papa 80.
and Papa Hades, yeah. Obviously the like we said, the comparison is Willow Creek. That's the only other, which directed by Bobcat Goldthwait. Always remember. I did not like that movie. I thought it was a piece of shit. But what I will say is that I feel like Bobcat really did try to make a compelling and different Bigfoot story involving like the missing women, who I won't spoil, go into all that, but the missing women and the say what you will, and we've said a lot about Willow Creek, that like 15-minute one take tent scene is pretty great. Yeah, and so I give that movie credit because I feel like it really tried to do something different. This movie that I enjoyed better, I will say, is very generic. Like, it's very by the numbers kind of. I mean, we'll get to the end. There's some special stuff at the end, but it's very generic. Like Bigfoot,
Jason slasher.
yeah,
type
Bigfoot's
film.
Bigfoot. Like, there's no weird type of thing going on. It's just a very by the numbers Bigfoot starts attacking people in the woods movie. So yeah. So like I said, I'll give Willow Creek that. I feel like it really did try to make a different type of story involving Bigfoot.
I feel like Willow Creek was like a suspense thing, right? Because you got to a point where you didn't even know it could have been the rednecks, right? Because you had that one guy early on, like the problem with Willow Creek is it had an hour and a half run up.
Yeah, literally.
Like
the
he was
whole
trying
movie.
To tell people what Bigfoot was. Yeah, it's like we get it. We know.
The whole movie is him interviewing people, and then the first night they camp. That's when the shit. That's the movie. That's the end of the movie. This movie literally just starts off with like Bigfoot.
Well, it starts off with a pig, and then Bigfoot.
Does yeah, but anyway, so like I'll give Willow Creek that. Secondly, and I'll agree with you on this, Tyler, because you said that you didn't like something that may or may not exist. I don't think I liked Bigfoot in this movie. Like, to me, he didn't look big. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just looked like a fucking hairy dude in a suit.
Not to skip too far ahead, but when you see him in the window, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Every other time, I was like, Ricky? That you, Ricky? What are you doing out there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the one that really got me is you get the one where it's the camera set up outside, and you see Bigfoot walking out of the woods and like coming up the stairs, and I was like, this looks fucking stupid. Like, it just looked like a dude walking up.
So keep in mind, like, I'm gonna go on a rant here right now.
Go.
Gabagool. Anyway, we're going on about Gabagool in Discord all day, guys. Sorry.
Gobble my cock up your ass.
Capicola. Anyway. So Bigfoot is supposed to be a breed of monkey man who separates us from the apes, like a primitive primate or whatever.
Yeah.
So, whereas you see monkeys and gorillas and shit walking on their hind legs all the time, that's not customarily how they walk.
Yeah.
So the fact that all these Bigfoot movies, whenever you see a Bigfoot, it's some dude, walking like a guy, right?
Yeah.
I would so much rather see him go through like a hybrid, walking upright to all fours, like.
Yeah.
You remember like 10, 15 years ago, maybe even 20, where like, was it parkour was like all the rage?
Uh-huh.
And the guys would do random flips and jump off random shit.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
I feel like Bigfoot should be more like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's like, no one, his mythical creature doesn't really exist, supposedly. So we don't know what he is, but like, even some of the biggest creatures in the world, like bears, grizzly bears, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't walk on their hind legs. They have four. They're like, let's use all, like. So to think that Bigfoot just walks upright all the time, It just seems dumb to me.
Yeah.
That being said, humans do it. So,
Humans do
we could walk with our...
We
Yeah.
change it, Tyler. We
Yeah.
start walking. um,
What was a part of this movie that got me?
yeah.
That I was like, oh, fuck, no. Because the guy's, like, shooting at it, and then Bigfoot's like, oh, shit. Starts throwing rocks. I was
That's
like,
my
he's
favorite
learning.
thing.
He's learning.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but like he's throwing rocks. They did not seem as worried as I felt like they should have been about these giant rocks being hurled at them, you know? Like, also, we'll get to the movie, I promise, guys. But can I say, I didn't count it, but I swear to God, there must have been at least 6 or 7, like, oh, he's not out there anymore. And then, like, put the camera up to wherever, and then the jump scare. There must have been 6 or 7 about the same exact jump scares of just Bigfoot coming out. And, like, to the point that, like, maybe the first one or the second one got me. And by the third one, it was like, I know what's about to happen. It's like, you've done this already to me, you know? And it would happen every time. And, yeah.
Oh, by the way, Thomas pointed this out earlier. Warning to headphone users. If you're listening to this on headphones, turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
It's loud. Okay. There's a lot of those where it'll just be like tense, and then it'll be like just really out of nowhere, and it'll be like, I think early on, one of the biggest scares in this movie to me is there's like a tense scene, I think, and then like a cell phone rings, and it's loud as shit. I was like, so yeah, warning to headphone users for this one. But anyway,
let's kick it off.
Yeah, the movie begins.
Do you want to break down the characters first, just to introduce everybody?
No.
The 5 of them.
The only ones I don't even. I think I know the one brother who I assume is the older brother. Fuck, where is
the camera guy or the other one?
The other one.
Mark.
Okay, I know his name. I wrote down the cameraman's name because he says it at one point. And
Brian?
I think so.
I'm guessing.
And I swear he said his last name was Toe, and that made me laugh. But later on, I think it was like Toem or some shit, you know? I don't know the black dude's name. They said it at one point. I think I might have it written down.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then the girls, good luck. I have no idea what the fucking girls' names are.
Curly hair and regular hair.
Curly hair and regular hair. I did like curly hair. So
I did not like straight hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like I said earlier, I hated every single one of these people and how they acted. I thought... Because I watch with subtitles, right? Because just I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
And just the exchanges between some of these people, I was like, what? What am I watching?
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the group,
guys. that's the group.
It's 2 couples and a guy's little brother.
Yeah, I assume he's a little brother. And
they're going to their uncle's cabin.
Yeah. He's the stoner, even though he's not a very stonery character, just like you see him like a couple times smoking a joint or something. But but they're going to their uncle's. So the movie starts with like some text talking about there's been 1,300 Bigfoot sightings since 1969 or some shit.
Can we pause for a second?
Okay.
Because this movie did something that I fucking absolutely hate.
All right.
And it made you almost watch the entire credits at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, let me decide if I want to know who these fucks are at the end of this. If I like the movie and I want to be like, hey, who did the cinematography or whatever, I'll watch it. Don't force feed me that shit at the beginning, because this was like it was like 3 minutes.
It was 3 minutes. They try to they intercut it with like the friends going and buying fireworks and like driving in their van and doing shit. But yeah, the opening credits, I was like, all right. And it's not playing cool music. It's just like, boom, boom, you know, like it's, yeah. But also there's a little snippet at the beginning where it says that, you know, supposedly the creature is only violent when provoked. So it's, ooh, you know. Also, I think when it says that, yeah, because it then goes, Bigfoot experts agree that the creature's only violent. And I was like, these motherfuckers, we got what research did they put into this?
Yeah.
Um,
What do the case studies look like?
Yeah. So it's nighttime, and they're driving. The stoner brother, like I mentioned, is asleep in the passenger seat, and everyone in the back has decided to have fun by setting his beard on fire with a lighter, which is a terrible mistake because that shit smells awful. Like, and they don't have the windows rolled down and shit. It's like what?
It's just the most fucked up thing. I was like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah. And so yeah, they set his beard on fire one time, and he wakes up and he looks for, and everyone acts like they're asleep or whatever, and so then he's like, oh, and he goes back to sleep again. And so then they immediately go back to try it a second time, and as they're lighting his beard on fire again, it's filming from the back. All of a sudden it's just and they just hit something, and you're like, oh shit, what the fuck was that? I do enjoy the line of the stoner brother when he gets up and he's like, yeah, something's burning, the engine's burning. I laughed at that. They get out, they do the usual shit where they're like, it must have been a deer, but then immediately after they're like, it must have been a deer, you hear like a out in the woods, and they get super freaked out, and they're like, let's get back in the thing. But to me, Tyler, that yell didn't sound strange, right? Like, it just sounded like a deer or something. Like, it didn't sound abnormal to me. But, it's whatever. So then, what is this? I don't know what this is. I have written down, man, we see something run away, and then this bitch in the corn honks the horn, made my stomach drop.
Yeah, he goes out there with the flashlight because they're looking for the animal they hit. Because he does that famous line, "You'll get a deer mouth to mouth."
Yeah.
And he goes out there with a flashlight, and he's like, the leaves are moving. And it's like, yeah, it's a forest.
Yeah. Yeah, the stoner brother, and he's looking around and he's filming, and you see something like, and he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, starts doing the zoom in where you're like readying yourself for the jump scare, and then yeah, the girl like honks the horn to tell him to come, and my stomach like dropped, and I was like, oh, you bitches, you got me. They get back to the van, they start reviewing the tape, and we just see a straight up Bigfoot. Like literally, he's just there, and so apparently they hit a Bigfoot. They don't necessarily call him Bigfoot, but they're like, it's walking, So then they keep driving the next day, and they're driving down this path, but there's a fucking tree knocked down, so it's in the way, so they can't drive anymore. So they got to get out on foot.
Everyone hates it. They're like, what?
Everyone hates it.
Walk in the woods? Why'd you come up here? Oh, we wanted to go mountain biking.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to bitch about walking 20 feet.
Yeah, the black dude's like, I ain't walking. Black people don't do this shit, And so they get out, they walk. I figured they were camping because we didn't know where they were heading at this point. And then they go, and they got like a cool ass pad out here. And I was like, oh shit, look at this. And it's cool for all of about 20 seconds. And then they go up to the door and it's cracked, and it's open. And this is when we get our first mention of, I guess we didn't need to steal the keys after all, the stoner brother says to the older brother. And the guy's like, and he kind of shuts him up. And so you're like, ooh, what's this about, So they go inside. This place is a fucking mess. It's dusty. It's all run down. They're like, I don't know when the last time your uncle was up here. They go into the bedroom, and the stoner brother starts making a bunch of like sex jokes on this dusty ass bed, talking about he's gonna make a sex tape.
Weird.
It's weird, and then in the middle of it, you hear like a like that, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And it's coming like directly from the room next to them. And they sneak over. And they open it up, and the next thing you know, fucking big ass pig comes running out and scares them all.
They call it a boar, but I'm pretty sure it's a pig.
Yeah. Which you kind of figured it was going to be like a wild animal and that was going to be the fake out scare. But can we agree that the noise they heard was definitely a fucking like giant person that was like, oh, but yeah, pig comes out, scares them. So they're like, we ain't sleeping here. So then it cuts to them in the van and they're all sleeping in the van. During the night, they start hearing some noises. They say it sounds like it's the animal is crying, and I'm like, I guess, it just kind of sounds the same as all the other ones. And then I got so mad because they're sitting there and they're like, oh man, that's pretty crazy. And then the next thing you know, just hear, and the guy rolls down the window, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like rolling back, and I do like that the older brother was like, roll that fucking window back up. It's like keep in mind, the window will not protect you, but like if someone wants to get in, they're gonna get in. But the safety of having the window up is everything. So he rolls the window down. He's zooming out into the dark, and you're waiting. This is when that they talk some more about, because the friends are asleep, so it's just them awake, and they mention that the Stoner brothers, like, maybe it's that thing that Uncle Bob says he saw back in the day, and the guy's like, shut up, that doesn't exist. And so you're like, oh, Uncle Bob, Uncle Bob, the most, like, nothing. I kept waiting for Uncle Bob to come through and fucking save the day. And I guess he kind of does. But does he really? Also, there's unanswered questions about Uncle Bob that we'll get to. This is when I wrote down, I was like, why are these people filming everything? Like, what are they doing out here? Like, every found footage movie has to have a reason these people are filming. I hate it when there's no reason and they're just filming all the time. They throw in, like, apparently the guy, they're making, like, the YouTube video. So maybe they're, like, YouTubers, like, doing the adventure thing, where they go different places and they, like, but that doesn't, like, they have so much stuff set up, like, cameras on the outside of the houses and just, I don't know, it just seemed weird, them filming everything. Also, going into this movie, did you think this was a movie about, like, Bigfoot experts, and they were going out here to hunt for Bigfoot?
No, because I saw the trailer thing.
Oh, I went into it.
The trailer to see.
Yeah, I went into it thinking that these people were like going out to look for Bigfoot, but it turns out they're like just idiots, and I was like, oh, okay, Which, to be fair, if you're going out to look for Bigfoot, you're kind of...
Yeah. I mean, I would go out and look for Bigfoot.
I would too. I would be an idiot. I'll own up to it. We've gone ghost hunting. It's the same thing. So this is, like I said, the next day he starts talking about he's got like this camera for this GoPro to see underwater. You never get any underwater footage after he talks about after he talks about it. They start doing...
You do.
Oh, when they jump into the water,
but it's nothing.
Yeah,
nothing worth it.
Because they started doing. They built like a ramp out of dirt, which I don't know if it was there, but that's not an easy thing to do. Like that's a lot of work building like compact and everything. So they're like riding their bikes off of and doing flips into the water, and it's playing like this rock music. And the dude's like, we're gonna make the best YouTube video of all time. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Have you ever seen Charlie Bit My Finger? You can. I think someone owns that video. I think they sold it as an NFT. Shout out. So now we cut to the Stoner brother, who has gone back to the cabin, and coming out of the cabin is the black dude and his girlfriend. I believe the black dude is dating the like. I think she had like red hair. I think she was kind of gingery. And the straight-haired girl, he's dating her. And of course, like all horror movies, they're going off into the woods to bone. And the stoner dude follows them. And the whole time he's like, oh man, I shouldn't be filming this, you know? And I kept expecting that he was going to leave and it was going to be like, oh, all right, so the dude's not like a bit. But he stays the whole time. Like, even after every time he's like, I shouldn't be filming this. He keeps filming it. Like, it's just so weird. But as he's filming it and he's like perving out on them, he hears like a noise and he's like, what the fuck? And he pans over and there's just like, once again, it's just Bigfoot. And he's just like there. Oh, and he goes walking away.
It's something.
Yeah. He then.
That's what I like more about Willow Creek is that I don't think you ever get a good shot of Bigfoot.
No, there's that one shot of him like at that big boulder thing, I remember.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Yeah. You don't see him at all, really. So then he's like, oh shit, you know? And so the people he's perving on hear him, and they're like, what are you doing out here? And they come, and he's like, listen, there's something over there. He's like, don't go over there. And they're like, yeah, there's something over here, all right. It's an ass whooping and shit. And so they come over, and they just like push the guy down and steal his memory card. And he's like, come on, guys, give it back, you know? And his whole thing, he's like, hey, you know, I can't review the tape to see what was on there because they stole the memory card. Also, he never gets that memory card back. Like, I was waiting for the scene where he gets it and he like slows it down and he's like, look at this, you know? But he never does. Also, I do like how he describes it. He's like, man, there was a fucking beast on there.
And the guy was like, don't talk about Mark's dick that way.
Yeah.
I was like, what a great joke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That night, the dude goes back to the same spot, talks about how his Uncle Bob saw something out here that freaked him out so much that he never came back and shit. He's like, he never said specifically Bigfoot, but kind of thinking it's Bigfoot, you know? So he's going out, and he's like, if anyone's going to find him, it's going to be fucking, you know, whatever his name is. He's like, I'm going to film him. That's what I do, you know? So he goes out, and he starts hearing noises and shit. And I do like, this dude has my approach to these type of things, where he starts going, hey, come on, big guy. We can be friends. Like, that's his, that's always, I've told you many times, I feel like if I ever ran into a bear, I could just be like, hey. You know?
There's also a point where he just starts yelling.
Yeah, he is just like,
and like he's at an 80s metal concert though. He has like his hand out and he's like,
he's like,
yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's calling out to him. Bigfoot never comes out, but he does find a big ass footprint, and he's like, it's got toes.
Oh yeah, what is?
Oh boy, what did he think? Like,
he was like, look at these toe marks.
Yeah, this fucking dude's got a toe fetish. Oh man, if Tarantino was in a Bigfoot movie,
yeah. I was thinking the other thing. I was like, there's one more customer for the toe shield.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, I'm dying. So yeah, then he starts hearing some more shit and some growling. Like, you can hear it growling. So he's like, all right, man, I'm leaving. And then he's like, you know where I'll be. Like, as if Bigfoot's going to come meet up with him. It's like, what? You know?
Well, you forgot the best part where he goes, I'm hairy, just like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hairy, just like you. I like that line.
And there's a point later on to where, like, when you see that, you're like, this guy's an idiot.
Uh-huh.
But way later in the movie, like...
Yeah, you kind of wonder if those words,
him talking to the thing actually, like, helped him.
Yeah.
But...
Next is when we cut to him doing the whole yelling thing, and basically he's trying to, like, get Bigfoot to, like, come, like, attracts him or something. Or as he says, a monster. He doesn't describe it as Bigfoot yet. Also, this is when he keeps talking in third person because curly-haired chick comes out and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm trying to get the monster out, you know? And she's like, oh, well, could you keep it down? You know, we're trying to sleep.
And there's this weird, like, kind of flirty vibe to it, right?
Well, I thought that they were together. I didn't know that
Yeah,
the other, because the one point when he's talking about like the GoPro, she comes over and is like on his neck and like kissing him on the neck, and so I thought they were together, but she's dating the older brother, so I guess they were. It was just like friends or whatever. Um. So he's like, all right, and this is when he says, he's like, well, listen, if anyone's gonna catch it, it's gonna be me, Brian Toe. Because that's what I do. I don't know if his name really is Toe, but I'm gonna call him that from now on. Outside, dude is sleeping in a hammock, and we start hearing some noises, and then he like falls out of the hammock. And the only reason I mention this is because I love the visual of like Bigfoot walking up and be like, "Fuck out of him," just pushing the shit out of him. But yeah, he falls out of the hammock. He's hearing the noises. He's trying to film again. He's calling out. He's like, Mr. Sasquatch, you know. And he finally sees something. And so he goes following it. And it's behind a tree. And dude is like, literally just walks a straight line towards this tree. And he's going to just peek around the side. And so he does that. And as he peeks, the next thing you know, it's like a fucking, I don't even know how to describe the noise they made, but it was like a rah, like that. And I was like, oh shit, Bigfoot. But then it ends up being the older brother and the black dude, and they come out. They've had paintball guns throughout the movie while they've been, and they just light them up with paintballs. Pretty sure. Well, yeah. Pretty sure. I don't know how many times you see him physically on camera after that. Pretty sure you never see paintball marks on him. Which, if I remember right, he doesn't change after this because this is when shit's about to hit the fan. So, you know, just kind of pointing out that they weren't consistent with the paintballs. They shoot him up. They shoot him for a good long time, too. And they start to make fun of him and shit because they're like, Mr. Bigfoot and stuff. And then the next thing you know, they hear, like, the screaming again that they've been hearing at the woods. And immediately, they're like, oh, fuck, Bigfoot. And they go running back. Like, they go from making fun to it's Bigfoot again in an instant. They run back inside. The girls are there. They hear it too, so they're scared. They're like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. You know, just you know, let's hang out." The straight hair chick is like, "I want to go," and the black dude's like, "Maybe now is not the time to go out there." I like that line. This is when we get the GoPro footage outside of Bigfoot just walking up to the cabin, and I was like, "This is just a dude. Like, he's just walking up here." They hear something trying to get in. It's trying to open the door and shit, but they can't get in. It gets real quiet, and this is, I think, maybe the first instance of the guy being like, "It's okay. It's gone. Nothing's out there." And he's zooming in outside the window. And then he turns on the night vision, and you get a fucking big angry Bigfoot face where you know, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
You scared it. You scared it off.
Yeah. So it runs off. They're like freaking out or whatever, and then it gets quiet again. And they're like, "Maybe, you know, we scared him off." And then we hear Bigfoot clearly destroying their car, but I guess they don't register that until the next day. Like, it's clearly, like, glass breaking and, like, everything. And then they go to leave the next day, and the car is totaled. And they're like, "Oh, what?" And I'm like, well, obviously. Didn't you hear him? Like, I also got mad because they all had, like, those mountain bikes. And their whole trip, their mountain biking. I was like, just get on the mountain bikes. I was like, I don't know if they all had one. I assume they did. If not, put the bitches on the spick. Oh.
Whoa! What? From? Yeah, like And you randomly say, put the bitches on the spicks. And it was like, what?
Spokes.
It's not even the spokes. You put them on the wheels, like the studs or whatever on the back.
I don't remember what they were called.
They're not the spicks.
No, they're not. I don't even think I can put that in the podcast.
The best part was you go, ah. Like you realize what you did. Put the bitches on the spicks.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? I'm gonna put it in. Listen, guys.
I would say put it as a short, but you know
that clearly was not what I meant to say. Everybody. Oh man. Okay, let me recover from that.
There's no recovery.
Okay. So anyway, I just wanted them to get on the bikes.
Yeah, like just ride twofer, right? Have someone on the back standing on the pegs. And you know, and it's a mountain bike, so it can take the weight. And everything.
Yeah.
You have to leave it in because now everyone's gonna be like, "Why is he laughing?"
It's gonna. It's fine. It wasn't. I mean it. Yeah, but they don't. Oh. What's up?
You go. Oh.
Yeah.
You got to rewatch it. We're done because it's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just team up, ride out of there.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun.
But they don't. They're like, they go back to the cabin, and literally their best plan, they're like, I guess we just wait here until your uncle comes back. And this is finally when the brothers have to be like, yeah, about that. They're like, we kind of stole his keys and didn't tell, him we were coming up here. And so the girl's like, so let me get this straight. No one knows we're up here. And they were like, yeah. And basically they're fucked. The older bro, same that day, decides to go biking for safety.
For safety?
Yeah. I thought that what he was doing was he was biking until he got to civilization and so when he would be biking and then he would keep checking his phone, and I was like, why are you checking I was thinking he was checking his phone to see like the road, but he was on the path. Yeah. So I was like, just keep going straight. But then he's going to try to get service because they don't have service out there. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense, Back at the cabin, they started barricading the place up. In the middle of this, they find a secret cellar. And I was like, oh shit, this is going to turn into like Evil Dead. They're just going to go down there. The Necronomicon's going to be down there and shit. The black dude goes down to look around, which I thought was weird. I mean, the whole movie, the guy's talking about black people, we don't do this shit, And then he's the first one that volunteers to go down in the dark fucking, secret cellar. It was like, all right. But he goes down there, turns on a light. He ends up finding the double barrel. This is double barrel, right? Double barrel shotgun. Nope. Was it just that single one?
Yeah, it's a break action 410.
All right.
Single shot. Yeah.
He finds it. He's like, oh shit, I found a gun. And he comes climbing up the stairs and like kind of waving around willy-nilly. And everyone's like, why are you pointing at us? But my thing was his finger like was nowhere near the trigger. Like, I was like, you guys are fine, even though at the end he did get a little close, but he was still, he was all right. Also, they're like, is it even loaded? And he's like, probably not. He's like, I'm about to check. And then he like opens it up and there's like a shell right there. He's like, so they have a shotgun now. They're asking him, do you even know how to use a gun? And he's like, well, I know how to use a paintball gun. Can't be that different, Back with the brother, he finally gets to a place where he has some service. He tries calling 911, but they can't hear him when he's talking. So he hangs up and decides to call his uncle. And his uncle can't hear him first. And when the guy turns, standing on the path in front of him is Bigfoot. And he's like, So he kind of backs up, and we have the guy has a GoPro on his bike and on his helmet, but it cuts to the GoPro camera or footage of the bike, so it's like on the ground, so you get like a side ground view of Bigfoot walking towards him. So the guy hops back on the bike. He starts taking off, driving back towards the cabin. He's telling his uncle, he's like, "We stole your keys. We're at the cabin, you know." And you hear the uncle go, "Cabin? You're at the cabin?" So the uncle has gotten that point. So you're like, okay, well, at least he heard that, you know. Right next to the guy in the woods, Bigfoot is just like doing the "I'm fast as fuck, boy," and like running next to him. I couldn't stop laughing at the visual of Bigfoot running next to this guy. And then eventually, I'm not sure if the guy hit like a stump or if Bigfoot shoulder checked him. But either way, he gets knocked off his bike and he goes flying. His leg ends up being broken. He like rolls up the sleeve and it's bloody. I don't remember if you see a bone poking out, but that's clearly what they were trying to say. Is like,
compound fracture. Yeah.
He's laying there screaming. He tries to walk away. Bigfoot walks up to him. And on the GoPro, we just see like, Bigfoot hit him, and you presume he's dead. At one point, I can't remember if it was here or if it's later, but they do a thing where a GoPro is broken, and they keep showing you footage of that GoPro, but it clearly was just like they put in post, just made it look like a broken camera. Like, it was clearly filmed normal, and they just added, like, a layer to make it look broken. So I just thought that was, whatever. Back at the cabin's getting dark. They're preparing to, they're outside. They're talking about, Matt. That's the guy's name. They're preparing for night. They're waiting for Matt to get back. And then Bigfoot starts yelling, and they're like, "Oh shit, we need to go back inside." And then the next thing you know, Bigfoot just tosses Matt's bike up onto the to the deck of the house. And they know that's Matt's bike because there's a GoPro on it. That's like the telltale. They're like, "That's Matt's bike." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you guys are the only people around, and he's the only one that went biking off." So they go inside. Bigfoot starts breaking in, and the black dude goes over and fires the most pathetic looking shotgun shot I've ever seen. Where it looks like he's holding it with two hands, like how he's holding this shotgun. Yeah. And he shoots. Of course, Bigfoot like runs away, so they think that he shot him, but he missed.
I don't think he did miss, but yeah.
Well, I think he missed there. I know for a fact he hits him in a minute, but they go and hide in this other room. It gets quiet again, and then once again they do the same scare where Bigfoot jumps out and starts attacking them. This is the time where he's breaking in the door. This is when I know for sure the dude ends up shooting him with a shotgun, and they land like a shot on him. Because Bigfoot even is like, and running back. They go into another room. Bigfoot starts breaking in that room, and then he just grabs the straight-haired girl and is like lifting her up, and then he just like tosses her across the room, and she splats on the ground. And I was like, "Oh shit, is she dead?" So they pick her up. They run into the cellar. They're hiding in the cellar. They're like, maybe Bigfoot doesn't know we're down here. Then the girl who I thought was dead starts waking up, and she's like, making noises, and they're like, shh, shh, The dude peeks through the door, or the crack in the cellar door with his camera, and Bigfoot just is like, looks down at him, and the dude is like, "Oh my god, he looked at me. Oh my god, he looked at me." But then I find it stupid because then right after that, they're like, "He doesn't know we're down here." And I was like, "You guys, he just looked at you, He starts busting into the cellar again. This time they land another shot on him, and he finally runs away. And then I guess that straight-haired chick did end up dying. So she just woke up for, like, plot purposes to make Bigfoot look down there. And then she died again. So that dude's girlfriend is dead. It's daytime once again. They go back up. The place is all fucked up. They see some Sasquatch blood. This is when they go up to the bike and they get the GoPro. And I was expecting them to watch the footage to see what happened. But they don't. They just go, "This is Matt's bike." And so they like cry or whatever. But then they leave a sign for Matt saying like, "We're heading to 226 or whatever the highway was."
12.
Okay. And in my notes, I wrote down, "Dummies, Bigfoot will read that." So, yeah. So
And he might have. Yeah.
he might have. This is when I also wrote down in my notes, man, this movie still has 30 minutes left, and it feels like it should only have about 10. Yeah, at this point, it felt like this movie should be close to wrapping up, but there was still like 30 more minutes to go. They go walking. They hear Bigfoot calling out again, so they run a little faster. They end up finding Matt's bag, and then they follow this little blood trail until they find his helmet. And this is when they're like, "Oh man, he must be dead," and they really break down. I wanted them to do something gnarly where they like, and his head is still like in the helmet,
helmet,
yeah. But it's just the helmet. This is what the curly haired girl who the brother was his or that dude was her boyfriend. She has like a major freak out about like, we shouldn't be here. We get the classic thing you get in every found footage movie where the stoner brother is like, "I'm sorry, I took you guys out here. I made a mistake." Which was one of my favorite parts of Willow Creek is just it's like quiet and they're in that tent and they're scared, and then the guy is like, "I fucked up." And it's like, "Yeah, you did, buddy." So then they find this little bridge, this little like, it's just a little wooden bridge over like this little dirt type of thing. That's the best way I can describe it. And they camp out there under the bridge for the night. And I gotta admit, it looked really cozy. Like it was like a nice little camping spot. But of course, they start hearing Bigfoot, and instead of just being quiet, they start to like, "Huh, huh," doing that. And then finally, the black dude is like, "Fuck that, I'm killing this motherfucker right here, right now." And so he just goes out and just starts firing off random shots into the woods with his shotgun. The stoner brother is like, "Come on, man, you can't even see him. Who are you shooting at?" This is when Bigfoot starts throwing rocks at them, big rocks. And they do not like, they're not like, "Oh my God, rocks." They're just like, they don't even acknowledge it that rocks are being thrown at them. To the point that I wonder if after the movie was over, if they were like, it would be cool if we had Bigfoot throw some rocks at them, So they had like filmed the scene already, but they just threw added rocks in there. So they run away again. They end up finding this RV, so they assume that they're close to the highway. But this thing is like deserted, so no one's in there. But then they start hearing what they think is Matt yelling, and the girlfriend has the nerve to go, "He sounds hurt," and it's like, he's been missing for 2 days, and you guys found the blood. Like, of course he does.
The bike was thrown at him.
Yeah. So they go running that way. They end up finding a tunnel, and I wrote down in my notes, perhaps it's a tunnel to the marrow. But they find the tunnel. The stoner bro is like, "All right, I'm gonna go down there. He's my brother, So he takes the shotgun. He only has one shot. They only have one shell left. So he goes down into the tunnel. He ends up finding Matt. Matt is alive down here, but both of his legs are like crunched and shit, so he can't walk. Also, I like the stoner brother's like, "How you doing, man?" It's like, not good. What do you mean?
Just chilling,
Yeah. So he's down there. He's trying to get his brother up. The brother is like, he's in here, and then we start hearing growling. So the dude is like panning around looking for him, and then finally it starts to zoom in on one spot in like this dark corner, and we see Bigfoot just like sitting there, and it zooms in on his face, and Bigfoot's like, sitting over there and shit. And so the brother fires off a shot, shoots him again. They actually managed to get Matt out successfully, which I was surprised about. I didn't think he was going to make it. When they were pulling him out of the hole, I thought they were going to do like a Bigfoot grabs him from the other side, or something like that. Classic, yeah. But they got him out. He tells him they shot Bigfoot, thinks that he's dead. Obviously, you're like, he's not dead. I then was laughing because they carry this dude all the way to the RV and he is in so much pain. He's just
compound fracture like that. He would have passed out from pain long.
Yeah. Also, that dude's legs were fucked, right? Isn't it like once the air hits the thing, it's like a whole. Yeah. They get to the RV. Uncle Bob calls them and is asking where they are. He says that he's at the cabin. And they're like, oh, we're, near the highway. We're in this RV, but he can't hear them. So, to alert him to his presence, they decide to fire off the fireworks that we had seen them buy at the beginning of the movie. Before they do that, however, the black dude decides to take a seat on the bed and just sits right down on the dude's legs. And, and he's like, oh my God. He's like, so the black dude goes, takes the fireworks, sets them up, lights them off, and that's the sign to tell the uncle they're over there. Of course, as he looks over, Bigfoot's standing there. Bigfoot starts to chase him. Dude goes running back to the RV, and he like face plants straight under the RV.
I think he did it on purpose. I think he was trying to do like a slide under.
Yeah. But Bigfoot grabs him by like the feet. And starts dragging him. The dude is like, get this motherfucker off of me, man. He's just yelling and shit. And eventually he gets dragged until Bigfoot just takes him and smacks him into the side of a tree. And that's the end of that guy.
He throws him.
Maybe.
He goes flying through the air to that tree, and it's,
So that guy's dead. His body then gets thrown at the RV. And it just has like a little dollop of blood on it to show he's dead. Yeah. Bigfoot then attacks the RV and he's like messing with the door, but he doesn't. And I'm like, why doesn't Bigfoot just rip off this fucking door? Because then right after that, he literally pushes the whole RV over. And it's like, you're telling me he could have just ripped that door open, Somehow in the middle of this, the brother died. The fucked up legs, Matt, and his girlfriend dies. I don't know what she got impaled on.
But it just shows the bloody.
Yeah, she's just gurgling blood, so you're like, oh, she must have got impaled on something, Then, maybe my favorite shot of the movie, the dude pans up and the RV is on its side, so there's a hill. And Bigfoot, it looks like Bam Margera in that I'm gonna kill you, where he like jumps up. And Bigfoot just jumps down and lands on the thing. Starts going after the guy. The dude manages to like get out through a window. I don't remember how he even got out of the RV. But he manages to get out and he's running away. He falls down the fucking hill and eats shit. Bigfoot comes over to him. And he's like passed out and Bigfoot starts like pushing his face and shit to like see if he'll wake up. But he doesn't. So then Bigfoot walks away and you're like, huh? Maybe he like, but then Bigfoot's like, psych, bitch, as he wakes up and like pulls him back. So then Bigfoot takes him to this graveyard looking area where we see all the friends who are now dead and they're all lined up together. They have flies like circling them and shit, the whole thing.
The CGI flies.
Yeah, the CGI flies. And then we pan over. And what I assumed was going on the whole time, because throughout the movie, the guy had mentioned, he's like, this thing's not supposed to attack you if it's not provoked. And, we thought it was friendly and all this shit. So it zooms over, and in the hole, we see a smaller dead Bigfoot. And I will say it's impressive how fast the guy is able to realize that, like, that must be her or his kid that's in the hole. And so that Bigfoot from the beginning that they hit died. And so this is clearly, I think it's his mother, probably. That's what I assume. This is its,
I thought it was its baby, right?
What the hole is dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume this is the mom that's attacking. And so, yeah, he realizes that this must be the mom of the dead Bigfoot. So that's the whole reason Bigfoot is attacking, because they killed its kid. The dude starts apologizing. He's like, we didn't mean to hit him, all this shit. Then, though, Uncle Bob shows up out of nowhere and fires off a shot and scares off Bigfoot. And it was like, oh, shit, Uncle Bob, fuck yeah. And so he's like, listen, we can talk about everything once we get to the truck. They literally walk about 20 feet, get to like this bridge where you see the truck on the other side. And then Uncle Bob just gets like punched in the face by Bigfoot. And that's it. Uncle Bob's done for in this movie. They never show you if he's all right. I don't know if Uncle Bob lived or died. Like, I don't know what happened with Uncle Bob here. But he gets knocked out. The dude then grabs the gun, and I was like, all right, he's going to turn around and, defend Uncle Bob. But then he keeps running. He, like, just leaves Uncle Bob.
The gun, takes off,
yeah. So he leaves Uncle Bob. Bigfoot follows him. And finally, the dude is like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to. Bigfoot, you can see like where he's been shot and shit, and Bigfoot's like bleeding. So the guy puts down the gun and basically accepts, what's coming to him. And we get like an over the shoulder angle of the guy like waiting to get killed, and Bigfoot like behind him, and Bigfoot slowly like stops his like heavy angry breathing and kind of calms out, and Bigfoot just walks away. And that's the end of the movie. Bigfoot leaves this guy to live another day. Is Uncle Bob dead or alive? Who knows? All the other friends are dead. But yeah, that is the end of Exists.
So do you think Bigfoot read his like body language? Because why would Bigfoot know English, right? Why would he know words?
Yeah, it's probably body language type stuff. Yeah, and obviously, and to the whole, he has the gun, but then he puts the gun down, and so there's that.
You think he would know what a gun is?
He knows that whatever it is keeps fucking hurting him because they keep shooting him with it. I couldn't find a budget for this movie, but apparently it was in some theaters. I had a box office of $42,000, so that's not too shabby for a movie like this. This is what I like. Apparently, the actor playing Bigfoot, Tyler, stands at 6'7". This is the second time Brian Steele has played the role of a Bigfoot/Sasquatch. He originally played the much friendlier Harry from Harry and the Hendersons TV show, which I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be the movie, and then it ended up being the TV show. But yeah, let's do best of, worst of for
all right
for Exists. My best of.
Oh, before you do this,
Okay.
So when they showed the baby in the grave, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, that's what happened to that kid from the Jumanji movie, and that joke had me laughing so hard, and that's why I ranked this movie up. I was like, he looked like the monkey kid.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sorry. All right. My best of.
It's always good when you have to think of what the good part is.
Well, just because I think I'm gonna go with the line that cracked me up at the beginning, which is when they hit the Bigfoot, and the dude is like, "I smell something burning. The engine's burning." Like just his delivery on it, the whole thing. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, if I had to go with a second one, it would probably be Bigfoot jumping onto the RV, just because it looked fucking cool. But that's my best of. Worst of. Well, my worst of is different. My worst of is the fact that they use the same exact jump scare 7 times throughout this movie, where the whole all the music stops and it gets quiet, and and they zoom in with the camera every time. That's my worst of. I hated it, and once I noticed how many times they were doing it, I could not unnotice it every time. So Yeah. Tyler, what's your best of, worst of for this one?
My worst of is kind of like a theme, not like a single scene.
Okay.
But it's times where they show Bigfoot running faster than the guy on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And then other times when he's running, he's barely moving. Like, he
Yeah.
couldn't run down the black guy,
Yeah.
but he could run down a person on a bicycle.
A bike, yeah. A mountain
Yeah.
bike, nonetheless. Like, hauling ass.
And every time they showed him moving, it didn't look Bigfoot at all. It just looked like a dude walking.
Yeah.
And it really killed the whole, like I said. Even though the guy was supposedly 6'9", supposedly.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. He didn't seem big enough.
He didn't. Like, they could have sprung for, like... What was Shaq doing? They could have got Shaq out there or something. Yeah. Bigfoot was real weird. He didn't look big enough at all.
You make a Bigfoot movie and then have a lackluster Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's a little... Just comes out. It's a little guy, just enormous feet. It like doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what's good about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of a good part, and like, it's really strange because they're in like a woods, and then the kid's buried, and it's like a burnt down forest.
Yeah.
And it's like how I see a single picture of it in the beginning, right? Like, lady's out there with a joint, but then the girl like looks down on him for smoking weed later in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's no continuity there. Like,
yeah, like I said, throughout the movie, it wasn't like this dude was getting high all the time. It was like literally every now and then, and it would be like during a relaxing point. You know, it wasn't like he was just constantly smoking. So
it's just
I guess maybe she's like, how could you be smoking at a time like this? You know.
Like, I don't know. There's so many things in this. Like, the pig. They never talked about the pig. It would have paid so much more to see, like, the dead pig later. Like, just the head of it. Like, ravaged by some beast.
Yeah. I think I would have liked to learn what Uncle Bob saw, even though we know it was just Bigfoot. But I think I would have liked for, like, him to have shown up and said something.
I'm sure in the original, he was like, I saw two big, like a family.
Yeah.
And I killed one. And then you would think, okay, that's the father or the mom.
Yeah.
And that explains why there's only one and a kid, because as far as I know, they're not asexual.
Yeah.
So you have to have two to make one, anyways.
But
like, and they don't tell you about this. Like, why do they have a hidden cellar?
Yeah. It was just there to have a shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they go down there and they could have like
they could have just had a shotgun on the wall, something. Like.
Right? Yeah, but no, they had to have another door for a dude to break through.
Yeah.
Again, I don't. Okay, my favorite scene of the whole movie is when the black guy lights the firework and it doesn't go off.
Yeah.
And you're like, all that, and this shit doesn't even go off, and then it goes off, and he goes, God damn!
Yeah.
Because like I said, I dig Bigfoot movies, but I just can't think of anything that really stands out.
Yeah.
Like the bikes, where did the bikes come from? Because they walked to the house and they didn't carry the bikes with them the first time.
Yeah.
And then the thing got wrecked, or well, I guess that was the next day. So I guess they brought them from the thing and you just never knew about it.
Yeah, well, the second day they were doing the jumps off the...
Yeah, but like paintball guns hurt.
They do.
So you have a shotgun and you have four other people who have nothing.
Yeah, like get the paint, like pelt them.
And there's another scene where they go to the car to get away and the car's jacked up. So the girls drop all of their shit and just turn and run.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure you're going to need some of that stuff.
Yeah.
No, run.
Yeah. I was glad that we didn't get the found footage trope of like they keep walking and then they're like, we're back at the cabin. Like it was a circle or something.
You got it at the very... Oh, yeah. I was waiting for that. Yeah. But you did get that Blair Witch thing at the end where he's waiting for Bigfoot to kill him. And he's like, I'm sorry for what we did. Looking at the camera.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this film was okay. It just reminded me of a slasher film.
Yeah.
I really wish Bigfoot would have killed the guy at the end. So...
Yeah.
But he didn't,
No. All right. Well, thanks for listening to us talk about Exists.
When he said this ends now, do you think he was going to blow his own head off?
No, I didn't.
He was like, this ends now. And it shows the gun and it's like kind of moving down. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
My kind of movie.
Next week, it's probably gonna be me and Tyler again. Would you like to? Because you had Dead Silence, and then there was that Asian movie. I have a movie, but I don't. If we wanna watch one of yours.
Yeah, I'm. What
Let's
about the A24 movie? Is that going to be out by then?
Probably not.
It's so weird because shit goes to streaming so fast.
Yeah. Let's watch that Asian one with the Asian chick that everyone likes. It's been a while since we've done a foreign film.
We should probably know the name of it instead of just calling it the Asian one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't remember.
Don't put the girls in the.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So then it'll be here. I'll say the name here.
I think it's not quarantine. It's like constraint. Maybe. I don't know.
Let me see. Nori? Is that it? No. Oh, here it is. Audition. That was it. Yeah, Audition. Yeah. All right.
We can if you want. Like I said, I don't know much about it. I just know a lot of people.
Everyone loves that chick. I think there's supposed to be some pretty graphic stuff in here too, so that's fun. All right. Well, next week we'll check out Auditions. Been a while since we've done a foreign film, like I said. Some shorts should be coming out. Link to the gaming channel in the description. Link to Curtain Jerks in the description.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I haven't even checked those to see how they do.
They haven't done much, but it's fun making.
It's still real early.
Right? Yeah. So like next episode should be ECW One Night Stand for 2005. By the time this episode comes out, we'll probably be getting pretty close to putting out a new Curtain Jerks episode. So that'll be in the description. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks a lot. Anyone who's watched, getting us to 100,000 views. Thanks, Papa Hades, for your recommendation.
For suggesting this movie.
Yeah. Got anything you'd like to add before we get out of here? Fucking food's been ready. I've been smelling it. I'm so hungry. We filmed this podcast. I got off work. This is actually the work shirt. Sorry to break the facade about this being a fancy shirt.
I'd like to talk about the war and how they really need our support. Russia's down, guys. They need everything.
Yeah.
Come on,
come with our comrades.
Let's start buying that vodka. You know?
Yeah. All right.
The joke, guys. Calm down.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Deuces.